guys! So, welcome to Programming 101 using C++. I am RJ Liadok, and today I'm gonna discuss three topics in the programming languages that is really useful not only in the C++ environment but also in other programming platforms. So, what are we waiting for? Let's dig into the presentation.
Hi guys, welcome to Programming 101 using C++, and this presentation is being made by yours truly. So the topics to be discussed be through loops, dimension of data types, and the introduction to functions procedures. So now before everything else well, let me introduce myself. I don't memorize my slides, so I'm so sorry. I am RJ Grace Viado, or you can call me RJ, 22 years old, student of AMA University, or AMA Online Education right now. A BS Computer Engineering student, and I graduated at UP Visayas as a Bachelor in Computer Engineering Technology, and currently I'm a Product Test Engineering Technician in the PCB Global Development Group in Analog Devices. So this is real. Now let me proceed to through loops. So loops. What can you imagine when I say loops? So loops has a symbol. Loops can be infinite. So loops is a continuous sequence of events, or it's a continuous picturing of event, especially if there's a condition that was being met. So what are loops? In programming, a loop is a sequence of instruction that is continually repeated until a certain condition is reached. So there's a limit on the loops in the programming, it's not infinite. A loop is a fundamental programming idea that is commonly used in writing programs. So as what I said in the intro, this is a common fundamental which is not only used in C++ but other platforms. An infinite loop. So this one is lacking the exit root, or this one is the infinite looping, which is not based on a certain condition is reached, or there's no condition that was being reached. So it will just go on and on and on. So why we should use loops? If you want to execute a code multiple times per condition, looping is what needs to be used because of the following reasons. So we use loops in order to reduce length of codes, so that we could shorten our codes, it takes a less memory space, and burden on the developer is reducing, and time-consuming process to execute the program is reduced. So it's all about reducing everything, making things short and precise. So we have these types of loops. The first type is the while loop. Next is the for loop, and the third type is the do while. So let's go through while loop first. So while loop first check the condition if condition is true, and then control goes inside the loop body, otherwise goes outside the body. So the syntax is really simple. So while condition, once the condition is true, statements will be executed and there will be increment or decrement. And then again it will goes into the while condition once let's see. And then there's the flowchart. So the flowchart just simply explains start. Next, it will process the condition whether it's true or false. Once it's true, it will loop the body. The loop will update through increment and decrement. Then the next will be condition again. And once it's false, it's gonna process the result and it will be the end of it. So that's it for while loop. So before anything else, before we proceed to the next, we'll go to programming a sample for while loop. So before anything else, this is a bare program. So maybe we should start by putting the hashtag include iStream. Of course, we must not forget about that. And then some of the libraries in the C++. CST instance. It includes. Sorry for that, CSD. I need the CSDD live. My gosh, my eyes is kind of don't know blurry. I'm really not. I always write so not good. I don't not write. I type. What's it? So sorry if I'm murmuring because I'm just thinking. Okay. And then, yeah. So I just paste the hashtag with iStream because it was fun. Then the name is STD. So we don't need to put STD every C and NCR. So the main program, and inside his part we will write our program. So we'll start with the initialization of an integer. So we will use I, which is 0. Then we will write while, and then I is less than 5. Number is space. Oh, I, and then it's again end line. I don't put end line. I just put that in the increment. And then we need to put the next code. Pi. Yeah, that's great. And then we're gonna run it through our trees. Yeah, sorry for that. Yeah, put CLS clear the screen. We're gonna call the program by writing the while. We will call the profile. That's it. That's the output of our while. So while the I is less than 0, we initialize it into 0. So while the I is less than 5, it will continue to run and run. So since I is being incremented, so that's why it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. It wasn't able to reach 5, of course. Now let's go back to the slides. So the next one is, after this while loop, we will go through another type of loop, which is a for loop. So for loop statement, which allows code to be repeatedly executed. For loop contains 3 parts: the initialization, condition, and the increment or decrement. So the syntax will go like for int, or yeah, it's just int, then the condition, increment or decrement, and then the statements or the looping statements. So this is the flowchart of the for loop. So first we start, initialize the values, condition, if it's true it will loop the body, then it will increment or decrement. Then if it's false, it will exit. So once it's true, it will just loop the body, increment or decrement once at false. So yeah. Now let's go through the another program. So we will just gonna copy paste it into another tab, yeah, so that we don't need to run again. Yeah, and then we'll just still use I and then use the for. So sorry guys, I really don't talk. So y is equals to 0. That's the end. We've already declared it. Less than 5. And I plus March. Line. So yeah. Oh wait. Okay, got it. Another one. No, it's done. Let's go and wait. So it's not for. Why is it there? Okay, let's put some for that actually. Run. It's still the same like how the while goes, but we just use the for because the increment started. The increment was inside the conditional brace, inside the braces, while in the while loop, the increment and decrement it goes after the execution of the body. Yep. Continuing the body to the body. Now, do while loop. So a do while loop is a control flow statement that executes block of code at least once and then repeatedly executes the block or not, depending on the given condition at the end of the block in a while. Do while is like while except that it is executed once before it breaks once it's false. So I will also do this same thing, code something about it. So, yeah, since the syntax over here, as you can see, is do loop body and then while condition. So it will do everything. You will initialize the variable, will do the loop, then the condition, then loop update because of the increment and decrement, and then the loop the body and condition until it turns false and then process the result. So yeah. Been recording real time right now. Been having a hard time explaining, but I'll just let you watch the program. So let's copy paste, go to the file and then paste it again. So that we don't need to type it again. So we will initialize our variable I 0 again, and then we will do and you can just watch the code and then I'll explain later. I can do coding and then talking. That's something that I'm not good at, I guess. I usually just do the code, watch it, and then I'll just run it if I can't run it, I will just debug it. It's just like that. Yeah, I guess that's all. It's my quick turning blue. Okay. Yeah, the do while has, you must not forget the semicolon, right? Semicolons are important. Then let's go with it, building it. And no errors, oh my god. Yeah. Sorry, I've been tossing it. Yeah, that's what you call infinite loop. But I have an error right now. So sorry. I guess because I wasn't able to. Yeah, that's it. In the loop, except for the semicolon, you must not forget the increment and decrement. So in order for the condition to be false and stop your program. So, and then again and then again a semicolon was being missed. Oh, sorry. Run again. Run again, run again, run again, run again. Bingo! And it was a success! So I'm gonna show you some features right now. Yeah, this is the feature of a command prompt. I just put cd, so the directory. I was able to put the exe at the match3 folder. That's why. Yeah, as you can see, it ran. Even though the while condition over here was already false, it still ran something. Now I'll change it into 5. And then let's go with this one. Yeah, it ran. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, just like for loop and while loop that. So that's all for the loops. And yeah, those are the 3 loops of the programming languages. So it's while, for loop, and do while loop. Now let's proceed to the dimensions of data types. So before we tackle about the full part of this dimension of data types, let's first define what is dimensions, of course. To talk about dimension of a situation or problem, you're talking about extent and size. If you talk about the dimensions of an object, you're referring to its size and proportion. So in programming, data types can be in first dimension and or in the other dimensions, which is we call array. Now, so we proceed with the first dimension. So every variable has an allocated space in RAM's memory. The size of the space that variable will consume will only be the significant portion in the memory and a specific extent. So just like what I mentioned in the previous slide, so extent, size, and proportions. So here are the data types. So the data type this is the designated sizes of the data type and the extent that the data type will cater in the memory of the RAM. So yeah, that's all for the first dimension. Now let's proceed to the other dimension, an array. An array is a data structure we can store a fixed size collection of elements of the same data type. So simply, an array is used to store collection data, but it's often useful to think of an array as a collection of variables of the same type. So, the use of array. So, instead of declaring a list of variables like number 1, number 2, number 3 to number 9, we just declare the integer type and then put an index to it, which is 0, 1, 2, 9 and up to 99. So the syntax for array, sorry for the wrong spelling of syntax, is data type, array name, arrays, and array size. So the single dimensional array. In the one-day array, the array size must be integer constant greater than the size 0 and type can be any valid data type. So here is an example. So the size of an array is 10 and it can hold up to 10 integer numbers. So in data type, name of the array is number and the size of the array would be 10. Next is still initializing one D arrays are simple. So below are examples of it. So we have an int type of array with a number of 5, which has a size of 5, so it's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So if you don't declare the size, the array will just hold everything that was in it. So in order to access the 1D array, an element is accessing by indexing the array name. So this is done by placing the index of the element with square brackets after the name of the array. So int is equals to variable number, int var is equals to number 9, which will return the value in the index 9, or the 10th element on the array of numbers. Again, let's do this. So yeah, we'll still use the same. So int I is having a size of 10. Sorry. So we will be using for loops in order to store some data on the array which has a 10 size. So we will be having a limit or a condition of less than 10 so that it could store only up to 10. So I'm putting comment over here, store values. Max value is 10. That's it. Let's say ix is equal to 100. So we will store this of 10 times the x plus 100. And this one we will be using another maybe for loop. Yeah, we will use for loop in order to access another index. So since we're declaring the x inside, it's okay to have the same name. That's okay. This one will be retrieving it. Yeah, display the number. Now you call the array name, and then the index x. So it will loop and until it will be less than 9, which is the 10th element of the array, of course. So we will still wait on the loading part. Okay. Array. Yeah. So it displays 100. Yeah, because it's 100 plus 10 times x. That's why it displayed 110, 120, 130, 140. Okay, so that's all for the 1D array, one direction array, or one-dimensional array. Now let's proceed to the two-dimensional array or 2D array. Aside from 1D array, we also have 2D array. Same with 1D array, array size must be an integer constant greater than 0. The type can be valid C type. But syntax for 2D will explain why it is two-dimensional. So it's two-dimensional because there are two sizes or two indexes that are inside, which are applicable for creating tables in order to identify the row size and column size, and also x and y's. So initializing 2D arrays are confusing since we are dealing two sizes. So below are samples of it. So we have an int number composed of 5 rows and 2 columns. So there are 5 groups of braces. So that means we have five rows, and then each of those 5 rows has 2 values which will be populated into 2 columns. So first group, set of groups are 10, 20, next are 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100. And once it will be displayed into the table, it will look like the table below. So now let's see how we access the 2D array. So it's just like the same, but the difference is we should always think about those indexes inside the 2 braces, or the two brackets, I mean. So we should always think about it as a row and column, and not X and Y. You just imagine a table having a rows and having a columns in it. So this is how it looks like. So 0, 1 for the column, then 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 for the rows. So that's why we have 2 columns and 4 rows. So row 1, so the invariable number 0, 0 means row 1, column 1. So that's why it displays 10. Next is row 1, column 2, 20, 2, 1, 30, and 2, 2, which is 40. So the rest, it will be just the same. So it will be, again, 0, 2, it could be 0, 2, and then, it could be 0, no, let's say 1, 1, 0, then 1, 1, 2, then it could be 2, 0, and 2, 1, that's all. Now let's proceed to a two-dimensional array. So let's use the sample that I was able to provide. Then initialize the values for this ones with the braces. So I had a mistake. I write a comma over there. I'm so sorry. It's not how you declare an array if we run an error. So let's have so we will be having 5 of this. Four, 8, 10. Now we initialize our array. Shift B. So the first 4 is for the row. You will going to go through all the rows. And let's say x is equals to 0. This will be the first index. X is less than 5 because we have 5 rows. We declared a size of 5 for the rows. And then we have y, which is equals to 0. Then we'll have x is for the row 2. This is the column, and then y plus plus. And then we'll have C out display per then x so let's see, we can see out another line. Yeah, so it's first, second, third, fourth, and fifth would be the first, second, third, fourth, fifth set of numbers will be displayed. It's running. It's already started us. Yeah, let's display. Yeah, so we display the first set, then we display the third set, and fourth set, fifth set, sixth set, and seventh set, and then it's just until fifth set I meant. So yeah. First set. I'm so sorry. Early. Somehow just talking about myself right now, as I'm like talking to myself. I mean, so Other than those two-dimensional and one-dimensional, we have also 3 and 4 dimensionals, which are not really used because it's so expensive and hard to maintain. Now let's proceed to the functions. So functions are really helpful in organizing your data structure, and let's say why. So what is so special about this? So it runs your code only when it's code, and once you define it, you can use it many times. And it has parameters which is called, which was being putted, parameters which will be used in order to call or to pass on some variables. So functions are also created outside the main program, which will be accessed by calling the main program. So to create your function, the syntax is simple. So it's void my function, and the code will be executed in there. This example is just a function that doesn't return any value because that's why it's void. And this one is int, since my function, int my function, so my function refers to your function name. Int means the function will return an integer, and the body is where you add the blocks of codes which will be populated inside the curly braces. A return will be defined based on what the program needs. So yeah, this will return an int value, and the void will not return any value. So I just mentioned parameters lately. So parameters act as variables inside the function. So you can pass on some of those variables inside the main into the parameter so that it will be processed inside the function. So example, my void my function parameter 1, 2, and 3. You can add as much parameter you want, but you should always remember that how many parameters you have will also be the number of variables that you will transfer to your parameters. So calling a function is based on the below syntax. So my function and then braces. So then yes, like what I've said, parameters will be values on the main program will be placed inside the braces, and it will be transferring into the parameters of the function. So let's see, here's an example. So void my function string x int y, and then the code, and then you call the my function inside the int main, which has the string name and the integer. So you should always remember that function is first to be declared before you call it into the int main, and you will know why. So again, let's I was to copy paste the template. Yeah, let's copy paste. So we just gonna get the int main and the function studio. So this will serve as our int main. So like just what I've said, function should be before the int main. So let's create a function that will add numbers right now. So int add, and then we will have two variables, which are int a and then int b, and then we will have a return. Since it's not a void, we will have return a plus b. It will compute the addition. It will create the addition for us. So you must see this. And then x is equal to, we'll initialize x equals to 20 and y will be equal to 7. And then see out, oh my god, someone's calling me. And I don't care already because I'm filming and I need to finish this one. So the sum of 20 plus 7 is, so we will call the function right now, add, and you will put the parameters x and y. So you will pass it on for the int a and int b. Put a line. No. So that's all. Let's save, and run. Save, and then run. So if you're gonna not run but build, you're gonna Control Shift B. Then function 1. Yeah, so the sum of 20 plus 7 is 27. So as we call on them, it executed it. So I'm gonna show you something that will explain the parameters having limits on it. So let's say we declared here 3 variables, which is 20 plus 7 plus 8. Yeah, that's what I mean. It says too many arguments to function. And let's say, let's go there. You can control click it and it will go to the function, which says that is it. I really have lost words. Now I'm gonna try putting function after the int main. So it didn't recognize. It was not recognized. There's no initialization that was being said. There's no add. Yeah, the add was not found. So yeah, let's go back to where it should be. Let's place it where it should be. And yeah, perfect. Right. And say another let's function. Yeah, that's how you should do it. Let's have another example. This time we will use void. Display, it will display a string. So let's put a string. Display. So display, it will return. Hey look, mom, made it, I made it. It's what in my head, I don't know if you know this song, guys, but yeah, if you know this, we're gonna be good friends, I guess. We're gonna jam this song. Then string, let's just declare string this. And then calling it, before we call it, let's put an header. Function display, so that will display. Yeah. So then let's call the function itself. The dim, okay, it's not the dim. Just say this. Yeah, that's how you call it. Just the same, passing the parameter. Sorry for that. So it's not declared the display string. Display string. Display out. Display. I just said it. I read it. This top. Yeah. It's just this up. This up. Yeah. Hey, look, ma, I made it. I made it. I made it. So, yeah, that's all for the functions, I guess. Oh, I've covered all the 3, right? So, you know that what means. No, you're not done yet. So, right now, honestly, I'm having a crisis in battery. But, yeah, we will do this. So, these are the references in mind. And then, yeah, let's do this exercise. Woo, woo, woo.
Well, that was all and long, but it's worth it because we've already programmed one full program using those three, the loops, using the while, and also the for loop. Then we also use the dimension of data types, which is the array, the other dimension, the two-dimensional array, and also we use function in order to do computation on the inputs given by the user. I know programming can be this long discussion, but it's worth it once you saw that your program already ran. So that's all for today, guys. Thank you for listening and I hope you enjoy your day and I hope you've learned a lot from my discussion today. See you next time.